What's up, STS Nation? And welcome to a live CrimeCon episode of Survivor, the podcast that promises to bring you the very best guests in true crime. Right off the bat, just let me know, STS Nation, all you hearing is an unmitigated disaster. We set this up way too late, and absolutely no time. Bill, Scott, and I are sitting about 15 minutes apart, way close. Bill is comfortable. Please let me know if you can hear us. Yes. We have absolutely no rundown for today's show other than to talk about what CrimeCon has been like. Perhaps the mayor, the biggest ambassador here at CrimeCon, the great Fil Waters, America's most respected detective. Phil, how's your CrimeCon experience been so far?
Well, this is my third one. This is my.
Bring that mic close to your mouth. You have to hold that thing in your
Really, my voice is not Kari. This will be the first time in the history of man that my voice is not Kari.
Patty says, "Hey Joel, Scott, Phil. Phil, you're a professional actor and a former host of the Interrogator, but can you do that? Or that's
How are you able to tell?
Lindsay Shea says our boys are live. Someone says there's a sound out of sync. I can hear Joel and their here. This could end at any moment. Scott, how's your experience been so far?
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. First and foremost, I'm just going to point, even though to the audience it doesn't make sense, but to meet Joel, to meet Phil for the first time in person. Amazing, astonishing, and I'm excited about how big this CrimeCon is. It is amazing.
Scott, Bill, Scott, and I have never met CrimeCon, and I gotta say, I love these guys more than I did before. That is exactly what I expected. Within 9 seconds, someone said they can't hear me, but within 9 seconds of being, everyone is half frozen and no one can hear us. Joel is the problem, as always. Joel is the problem.
Oh, let's see. Thank you, my brother.
Peter, just stay for a second.
Yes, it is.
Stand by, everyone.
It is my birthday. Thank you.
Oh, it is. Well, happy birthday. And you are what?
My brother Greg. Shout out to you, Greg, and Minuteman Press.
A rifled, 57?
56.
How's your birthday?
Oh, I'm loving my birthday. You know, it is. I was just talking to my wife a few minutes before the show, telling her that it is I believe the first birthday that I spent away from my family on 9/11. 2001, I spent my birthday away, but my wife made the trek to Virginia to be with me, and so now down here, I couldn't imagine anybody better to be with than my newfound friends and family, my brothers Joel and Phil. Man, this is a treat. Everybody can see what.
Well, I guess the only thing I'm curious about is if anybody is hearing anything.
STS, are you hearing me now? Please let STS. Please let us know if you can hear me.
Well, they know it's your birthday, so that is.
Are you hearing me now? Are you hearing me now?
I only hear Scott.
Oh yeah, they're hearing me now. Okay, so as you can tell, we're a professional outfit. I was muted. I had myself muted. I am no tech expert, but we are at CrimeCon. Again, I was saying this before. I don't know if anyone heard. Within 9 seconds of walking into the World Marriott Center here in Orlando, Florida, I bump into a burly man with a goatee. It was Fil Waters. Exactly what I expected. Exactly what I expected, and even more. Fell in love with him all over again. few hours after that, I met Scott Duffy. Exact same feeling. Love these guys like brothers. The other guys that may have you mute when I'm speaking, that echo, it's just because we're in a massive hall. It is Scott Duffy's birthday, Scott. It was halfway through the day that I realized I forgot it was your birthday. How is your birthday here at CrimeCon?
I am loving it here in CrimeCon, and the love that everybody has been coming to our site to wish us. And then as we all learn this new technology, because we're all at our different computers, we're at computers that we're used to. And so Joel, to spend my birthday with you and Phil, and literally the 6,500 people who have come down here to celebrate CrimeCon, it's great.
And Scott, if we're not on, I'm going to have you mute, young man. I'm going to have you mute. So we are obviously following a stealth here. He says Scott has his own Hawaiian shirt. He was mimicking the great Fil Waters. And he is in a Philadelphia Phillies Hawaiian shirt. Fil Waters, what do you think about the fact that Scott Duffy has emulated? They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. He's in a Hawaiian Philly shirt. Does that cut muster in your world?
Well, I'm not really. I don't really lean toward a particular baseball team, although we do have the Astros in Houston. It might have been more appropriate if he had worn a Houston Astro Aloha shirt. That would have been more respectful of me. But he chose to his favorite baseball team, the Phillies, which is fine. And we were, if you remember, we were. Well, you weren't there. So this morning at breakfast, of course,
I wasn't invited to breakfast. Go on,
we
Phil
were
Waters.
accosted at the table by a Phillies fan from New Jersey. Where that guy was from?
Did someone say Jersey? That'd be a good person.
He was from Jersey, but he was a Phillies fan. And I was just amazed at the fact that they would interrupt our breakfast to make this announcement. But that's fine. That's what we're here for, is to interact with these folks. So it's all good.
I have to be honest. I have no idea what in the world is going on. This DOE is in my biz. Joel, where's Carmela? She's supposed to show up here. As you can tell, this is totally unstructured. No rhyme or reason. Total insanity. Scott Duffy, we had the good fortune of meeting the pinnacle female in true crime across the board, female, male, Nancy Grace. What was it like to speak to Nancy Grace for a moment or two?
So let me just set the stage for the audience. Nancy Grace and her security and entourage were moving right past us. But then she recognized you. She called you by name, hugged you, and you were gracious enough to introduce me. I am a fan of Nancy Grace in a big way. So to have that, especially on my birthday, just another cherry on the cake.
By the way, I always thought that Nancy Grace, for some reason, my mind was going to be like 6'1". She's a tiny woman, sweet woman, very gracious, and promised to come back on Surviving the Survivor. Fil Waters, you're giving a big, you're like a keynote guy tomorrow night. What are you doing? Tell the audience. By the way, no one is more popular than Fil Waters at CrimeCon. He cannot go 2 feet without someone surrounding him, a gaggle of people, and he holds court. Wherever he is, he holds court. Fil Waters, tell us about your speech. Tell us about your talk tomorrow night.
Well, tomorrow night will be called In the Interview Room. And it is going to be welcoming the folks that come to participate in an actual interview. So it will not be me sitting on stage in the interview room. It will be the folks that attend that will be making the critical tactical decisions that have to be made in the course of an interview. And whatever they decide, that's the direction the interview will go. And then at the end of that, we'll have a evaluation of what their decisions meant, and then we will proceed to have we will show what really happened in the interview, because it's based on an actual interview of a capital murder suspect.
Tell you something. I was invited to a special cocktail party tomorrow night for IPs, not to toot my own horn. And I said to everyone, I cannot go because I've got to hear Fil Waters speak. I'm tempted to go to this cocktail party. I'm not going to lie, Phil, but I'm going to go hear you speak. And we were in the hotel for 9 seconds before we met Fil Waters, and I was with the great Carm, who's supposed to show up here at any moment. And I asked Phil, his brother is here, and I said, Phil, when is your brother coming? And I was distracted and overwhelmed because I'm meeting America's most respected detective, and I'm trying to get into the hotel. So maybe 30 seconds later, I repeat the question to Fil Waters, when is your brother coming? And he looked at me. He gave me the death stare from the interview room like I had just confessed. He was like, do you not listen, sir? He catches me in lies. It wasn't a lie. I just didn't remember that I had asked. But Fil Waters is listening meticulously to everything, and it makes me very nervous. Phil, do you get that from anyone else or just me?
No, I do make people nervous. It's unintentional on my part, and all I can say is that they're either they're about to tell me a lie or they're guilty of something. So there's some sort of conviction going on there. I'm not sure.
And then the great Susan Constantine of the Human Behavior Lab, she was hanging out, said hello to her, and I realized I was slouching, so I stood up as straight as I could. Scott Duffy, do you run into the same problem? Do people get nervous around you because you're former FBI? They may say something in regular conversation is incriminating. Does that happen?
Yeah, it does happen. It's something when you're not even in the interview room and you make your employer known, hey, FBI, and then people just, you can see in their body language, they tighten up a little bit, and you try to do everything in your power to just bring that tension down, which as Phil is talking, the interview room is filled with so much tension and emotion, and then just imagining in an everyday aspect when people meet you or whatever, it's just it's amazing, and I think that also helps me in the interview room, just to constantly be aware of that, to help bring that tension down. So
we have a special guest here, Vita Aaliyah, my daughter. Vita, are you having fun at CrimeCon? By the way, you've been asked to leave 17 times, but I've kept you in here. They're not supposed to be kids. Are you having fun?
Yeah.
What do you like most?
I don't know.
Who do you like better, Phil or Scott? You have to say both, the same.
Both.
And your little brother was more interested in watching the Disney show since he's at the home of Mickey Mouse than he was being here. Do you blame him?
No.
Okay, love you. See you in a bit. Fil Waters, this is how many CrimeCons is this for you?
This one will be number 3, but this will be the second person.
And by the way, CrimeCon in May is going to Nashville, the home Music City right there. We're going to be there in Nashville. But Fil Waters, how does this one compare to the other that you've been to in person?
Well, we've been to one in person, so I'm looking to compare it to Vegas last year. This one is massive. The one in Orlando, I know there are more people here. The facility is much more spread out. It's pretty amazing what they're able to, Kevin and Kelly and the crew are able to put together for these things. It's a massive undertaking to produce this thing.
Very quick programming note. By the way, Tuesday night, we have not dived into this case yet, but we're getting into the Delphi murders on Tuesday night. We have Susan Hendricks, former CNN anchor. She's written the book. It's called Down the Hill. She's going to be on Tuesday night. She's here. I've not seen her yet. We're also going to have Rick Allen Ross, who was the the preeminent expert on cults coming on that night. And I am overwhelmed right now. Who is the third person? It'll come to me, and I forget whoever that third person is, but the third person is equally as good. Fil Waters, I put you on the spot. What do you know about the Delphi murder case?
I know about it. I don't know a lot of detail to it. I know that it drug on for years. They had videotape of some figure that was interacting with the two girls, and they had identified a suspect, and I think I want to say his father was involved, possibly, and they were kind of honed in on these two, and then eventually, I guess was it earlier this year or late last year where they actually charged it. It's live. That's all I can say.
How dare I interrupt Fil Waters like that? Get over here, Mac. Carm, come here.
Hey,
Get in here. Stick your face in here. Everyone
clamoring for you. How's it feel to be CrimeCon? Come over here.
It's
You're next up.
the best experience. Just introduce me to your daughter.
Hold on, let me tell you a quick story. I got out at the hotel. Carmel said there will not be more than 2 people who have listened to the show or know who you are. Carm, do you want to correct the record?
No. I said me before.
You want to correct the record now.
Yeah, I corrected to 6.
All right, let me bring for a minute. Mac, how's crime?
Walking around and I ran into your mama and she's like, I'm turned around. Do you know where my booth is? I said, baby, I'll take you right there. So this was just fabulous. Fabulous.
So Nancy Grace, and I had to say, Nancy, I'm a friend of Max. Immediately she stopped. She hung out. She said she's coming back on. Is Nancy always the biggest attraction here?
Yes, hands down. She's the queen of CrimeCon, sugar. No doubt.
You know who's a very close second? The king over here, Fil Waters.
Sure.
Did you guys just meet?
We just met in person for the first time.
And I'm going to introduce you once we get off the air. Mac,
Okay.
love you, and it's so good to meet Mac.
I appreciate it. Love you too.
Nice to meet you, Mac.
I'm gonna Mac and Phil are gonna talk. Mac and Phil. It sounds like something out of McDonald's. I don't know. I've already run out of things. To you, Scott Duffy, who are you most looking forward to seeing here besides Fil Waters?
Fil Waters, Joel, Mama Carm. It's just, and then of course everybody else is just gravy. I mean, seeing Emily Capagna, seeing Nancy Grace, it just goes on. And then first and foremost, all the people that have just been coming and showing the love of just how many people watch STS Nation. It's just amazing time.
And wow, I can't believe we're even remotely able to go live and do this. So you just saw Mac and Carm, and it says, tell us about meeting Kari Rawson. Kari, they call her Rawson for a reason. She's awesome. She is one of the premier finds here at CrimeCon. People are seeking her out. Tomorrow, I was actually invited to speak on a panel with Kari and Laura Ingle, formerly of Fox News Channel, now with News Nation. So I'm looking forward to that. Fil Waters, for Kari Rawson, this is it's both a very exciting and electric place to be, but a difficult place to be because obviously her father, has a notorious history, and she's working on trying to solve these cases. You've spoken highly of her before. What was it like for you to meet her?
Well, it was interesting. I got a bigger appreciation of what she has been through, what she's going through, and I just sat back and just watched and listened to her, and I still have the same acclaim in terms of what she is trying to accomplish. And I think at the same time, I've said it before, I think it is somewhat therapeutic for her. So that's a good thing for her to get in a mode where she's not living in some kind of weird survivor's regret kind of thing. And she's here. Hey, and she's trying to bring some sense of justice to these families that their family members were victims of her father. So it's a really it's got so many different, for lack of a better term, it's very poignant what I think of what she's trying to accomplish, trying to remedy.
By the way, heat that Fil Waters takes for speaking his mind, I gotta say, he's probably the most Duffy and Phil got to be the two most genuine guys I've met. Sincere. Fil Waters, everything he does is all heart, man. This guy, and he investigates crimes because he actually cares. That was his life's work. So, anyone that wants to come down on Fil Waters, they got to go through me first. How about that? Phil, you think we're actually going to get dinner tonight? Every restaurant is sold out. I tried to pull I'm from Fox News. I'm platinum whatever with Marriott, but told me to buzz off. Are we going to just have to break in to a restaurant tonight?
I'm not sure. I have got a rehearsal at 8:00, so I don't even know if it's just going to be. It may just be Cheetos in the speaker room and a cup of water for me tonight. So I guess we could order out.
Yeah, we could do that. Friday night pizza night. I'm not doing any pineapple.
It is Friday night.
Yeah, we could order pizza.
We could
100%. We could do pizza night. By the way, people are clamoring for Nugget. Did you even check in on Nugget?
I did check in on Nugget. Nugget heard my voice and ran into the room where my wife was talking to me. And she said she's here right now. Jumped off the couch and came in to where she was. And so Nugget and I had a moment, and we have a FaceTime moment there. So yes, I have communicated with Nugget.
By the way, I'm not going to go into details, but I shared the very romantic way my wife and I met last night with Phil and Scott, and they were both mortified. One day I will tell the story. To you, Scott Duffy, once again, I'm going to take heat that I'm talking to Phil more than you. You know there's no truth or veracity to that. Pizza for Scott, someone says that is a definite possibility. Someone else says on Nugget. What was it like to be Creighton Waters, the lead prosecutor of the Murdoch trial, on stage last night playing his guitar the way he was? My mother thought having an epileptic seizure.
First of all, talent is through the roof. It's amazing how somebody so intense, professional in every aspect in the courtroom, then on the stage, just to be a whole different character. What people never cease to amaze me, that's for sure.
I'm being yelled at by the COA for turning my speakers on and off. I don't even know that I'm doing it, to be honest. I'm just not going to mute myself. I think there was an issue at first. There have to be at least 7 people that have walked by in the last 30 seconds that have screamed out, "Hey, Fil Waters." It has not bruised my ego in the slightest. It's been amazing. I have met a lot of the people who I've just been talking to, like Susan Constantine. By the way, what an elegant woman. I mean, carries herself all class.
Very
brilliant mind. You know, there it goes. You can't hear it. Once again, Fil Waters.
I do need to take a break here.
The Ferrari dealer is going to.
It is.
The Ferrari. Phil's closing the Ferrari deal. And he just got a call. That is not a joke. He's lumbering away. Those knees are about to give out. He's got to deal with a Ferrari dealer. Bugs, where's your arm? Bring her over. Where is she when we get her?
Carm out here.
Go get Grandma. Are you going to do the next CrimeCon with us in Nashville?
I'm definitely all in for the next CrimeCon. This is shown. This is over the top. It's just an amazing. As typically for these podcasts, I'm in a quiet room in my house and staring at the camera, but just the amount of people is just lots to see.
Carm will never admit that, and I'm told to turn my speakers off. Carm will never admit that we had all these people, but we really did have quite a lot of people coming up, telling us that they're familiar with the show. It really warmed my heart because this has been a labor of love for me. And to be honest, I was not expecting the love that we got. Think of all that.
Joe, I was with you most of today as you were gracious enough to just allow me to walk through all the different exhibit halls and whatnot. And you are absolutely right. This place is packed with thousands and thousands of people. And for people to just shout out the love for STS Nation, to stop by the booth, it's an amazing aspect. And I feel like what you created and what this show has become, it's just an amazing thing. Never forgetting victims and always being able to give, whether it be past experience on what I think is going on in today of crime. It's just an amazing thing. If we have a camera that we can show all the different aspects of what this conference actually does.
Well, for Nashville, we'll come better prepared with different camera angles. By the way, Fil Waters' brother's here and helped us with all the engineering. Thank God there's one very smart guy in that family who was able to put this all together. His pizza's on me tonight. Scott Duffy, where does this rank in the birthday echelon of all your birthdays? Where is this one? This is different.
This is absolutely different. So, of course, I got to say there's nothing like spending birthdays with your family, but when you can't spend birthdays with your family, spending birthdays with the STS Nation family, CrimeCon, just has a very special place in my heart.
Oh, look at this. We have a serious question. By the way, Sarah says, I live in Nashville. You better be at the next CrimeCon in May. It was announced. It will be in Nashville. Get your tickets now. We're going to be there. Bonnie Lee Lopez, a question for Scott. Coming to us from the great state of Vermont, Bonnie Lee Lopez is, what does Scott think of the Dan Markel case? What do you think of the Dan Markel case?
Oh, you're catching me off, so fill me in.
Dan is the FSU professor, law professor, shot in the head twice in Tallahassee, and the former brother-in-law is going on trial at the end of the month. It's a pretty sordid tale.
Yeah, so I'll just say to Bonnie, I'm going to catch up on that, but otherwise, I imagine a motive has already been put in place as it's going to trial, and so everything else is just one murder after the next. They're just an amazing how, and here in the inner circle of family, to be on trial, it's sad.
Someone is saying that Lex Luthor, of all people, saying that we need a live view. That is what we use in network news to go live. And we will get something. They're a little expensive for my liking, but we'll have to get something of that ilk so we can go live at the next CrimeCon. Not to harp on this, but what did you think of now that he's away from us, working on getting his second Ferrari? What do you think of Fil Waters? I mean, he really is a genuine guy. You can just tell he's a great guy. What was it like for you to spend time with him personally here?
Like a gentle giant. It's to have been, I don't know how many months it's been where we have seen each other, we have talked with each other often on air, and then to be able to meet you both in person, and of course your wonderful family that's just surrounded, helping in every aspect. It's everything I expected, and he is an absolute gentle giant.
Tali in Israel is saying, I am so jealous of all the cool things you have in America. Israel's the number 3 tech company in the world. You guys have some cool stuff there too. We don't have this cool S in Israel, only crime without the con. You have a lot less crime than us, but what about CrimeCon Israel 2024, Tali? You got to organize that. I'll come out there. We'll do our own CrimeCon. We're coming back there this summer. I got to take care of some family biz. So CrimeCon 2024 in Israel. Duffy spent time in Israel, and you'll come to Israel for CrimeCon 2024, won't you, Scott?
I would come to Israel for anything, but especially for CrimeCon.
Chelsea, oh, that's the wrong one. Weird. Lex Luthor says, are the crime junkies there? They're great people if you get time to meet them. I have not. There are crime junkies, but the actual show, Crime Junkie, I have not met them. Scott, anyone that you follow closely that you want to meet here?
So I've stopped by a few booths as in my spare time, and I could see the different true crime, whether they be streaming or whether it be News Nation, and then of course Fox streaming. And then to have seen how many podcasts that are out there that have, first of all, fantastic names and great followings. It's I believe the one that was with us this morning, Paul from, I believe it was the Survivor Squad. So very, very nice bunch. And then, of course, let me give a shout out to my good friend Jerry Williams, who has an FBI podcast with regards to retired agents who have had fantastic cases, and they've been able. I think it's called FBI Case Files.
And by the way, met Julie Grant of Court TV. Finally, I do Court TV. I'm going to be doing Court regularly now, every other week. It's a big honor to be on Julie's show. She was here, so sweet, so kind. Loved her. Someone's asking about Gigi, and Gigi McKelvey shows up with her mom and dad. Were you here when she came, Scott? She's that was a yes. I think you can unmute now, Scott. I think you can leave yourself unmuted. Your mic has a lot of ambient noise, but we're okay. If Scott's mic is driving you crazy, let us know and we'll fix it. But Gigi McKelvey has to be one of the most genuine, sweet people. I know I said that about Phil. I know I said that about Scott. But honestly, this community has some really good people. Gigi's really in the business with Pretty Lies and Alibis to help victims, and she does that. Her mom and dad were super sweet. Her dad's a big-time engineer, by the way. He's got a bunch of patents, which I thought was really fascinating. He was explaining it to me. Hey, Gary Brucato. How are you? Come over. We're live right now, Gary. Gary, we're live. Come over here for 1 second. Look who's here, Gary Brucato. Come sit down for 1 second. Yeah. Look at this. Gary Brucato and there's Scott Duffy. Look at this. Legends walk by when you least expect it. The man with the best vocabulary in America. Dr. Gary Brucato, how's your CrimeCon been so far?
Oh, fantastic. It's like a who's who of people that I've collaborated with, consulted on cases with, been on podcasts with. It's quite amazing. And a lot of people who generate ideas for future projects.
It's amazing. I actually have Ann Burgess's book, which I want her to sign. That's something that these guys have been doing. I don't know if you have your book, Gare, but I need to get you to sign a book for me, and we're going to auction those off to the members of SCS Nation. Who are you most, being the master of the serial killer, who are you most excited to see here?
Well, to be honest with you, I've never actually in person met Dr. Ramsland that I did a panel with today. I've collaborated with her for years. But to meet her in person was a great honor. And, of course, it's going to generate all kinds of future projects. I'm also really looking forward to meeting Glenn Kirshner.
He's right here.
I'm crazy about Glenn. I think he's brilliant, and I really can't wait to meet him.
Glenn Kirshner is literally right next door.
I'm crazy, but I think he's brilliant. I watch him every day.
Wow, that's amazing. And will you get a drink with us at some point over the weekend?
If I'm here, I actually I leave in the morning, actually. But if you see me tonight,
you're just one and done. Just here.
One and done. I was here for the panel, and
how come? I mean, that's
the way it worked out with the plans.
Superstars come in and out. They don't linger. They do not linger. Gary, I'm going to talk to you off camera when I'm done with this. But great to see you. Awesome.
Okay.
Tell her to come by. Great.
Okay.
Awesome to see you, Gary. And come back on the show. We'll talk. So there you go. That's Gary Brucato right here live in the flesh. And look who it is. Grab that seat, Phil. I don't want your knees giving out. And I want to hear about the Ferrari. Phil, look at this. My daughter's bringing over a chair.
Thank you, Vita.
Fil Waters, is a deal done? Yes or no? Oh, wait, Bugs, he's not on. Stand by, everyone. I'll talk to Scott while Phil figures this out. Oh, wait. Sorry. We're a real professional organization here. There he is. Phil, is the deal done?
The deal is done. That was actually my mechanic who is bringing the car up to showroom quality.
What does that mean in layman's terms?
It means I'm going to spend about $30,000.
What do you have to do? Wax it, buff it?
Oh no.
What?
It's getting almost a complete new paint job. The engine is going to be taken out of it. We're doing some work on the engine. The seats have all been. They're all going to be replaced. Leather is going to be replaced. The dash leather will be replaced. I just told my mechanic he was a Ferrari mechanic for 20 years for Ferrari of Houston, and he is a good guy. Everybody in the state of Texas that's a member of the Ferrari club,
go get
knows
me.
him, and I told him to take the car and make it like he owned it. So there we go.
By the way, one of the most important people in my life is here. Steve Cohen.
Steve,
get over here.
Yeah.
Bend down. We don't have a chair. We're low budget. Bend down. This is the right-hand man. This is the man who makes the magic happen, Steve Cohen. Steve Cohen, it was debatable whether you're going to show up, but you made it. You have a very busy schedule. How's it like?
I think it's really, really good here. It's really like a cool convention. I got to see Carm. Hallelujah. I think that.
By the way, Meave Moen has a very sexy voice. It's gravelly.
It's very gravelly today, and I usually shower once a week, whether I need to or not, and I didn't do it today. If I knew how to be on camera.
You're very close to Phil. You should not have revealed that.
Exactly. No, I think I've been very pleasantly surprised by all the love that everybody here is getting from, for Survivor. People came up to Scott, to Phil, to Carmela, even the chief technical officer. So it's really an honor and a privilege to be working with you. And in the words of Virginia Slims, I know a really timely reference. We've come a long way. It's funny, if you notice, I met the winning crime, and they said, "Oh, Joel said Steve and I are like the same age."
Shout out, by the way, to Amy Schlossberg and Megan Sachs.
But it's funny because they were giving out blow pops. So I said, "Oh, if it's free, I'll take 3." And she said, Amy Schlossberg, stingy, parsimonious Amy, said, "Take 1." And so it's like, that's why I only have.
Next to Gary Brucato, Meave Moen has one of the best vocabularies in America. Meave.
Yes.
I just want to say something.
I'm podcast famous. I'm like Hong Kong fluid behind the scenes.
Let me say one thing.
Now I have my moment. Okay.
When we got into the hotel, I met Fil Waters within 9 seconds. But after that meeting, Carmela turned to me and said, and I quote, "There will not be 2 people that know who you are here." I said, let's see.
Wow.
And Scott Duffy, what would you say number-wise, people who have come up? Is it in the hundreds yet, would you say?
Is
it in the hundreds?
Okay, Carm, close your ears. I couldn't even count. It was amazing. In this, first of all, we went by this
here. Keystone Coffee. Officer Cookie.
This huge crowd in the women's bathroom line,
wow.
And all the women were coming out. They're standing in line, coming out, giving you a hug, asking for a picture.
It was very, very humbling. Very humbling.
Let's have some.
Carm's going to come around in a second. Phil's from Texas. He doesn't like.
I'll get a chair.
Phil is fighting to give my mother a chair, which I should be doing. No. I can't go because I'm holding a mic.
Need some chicken parmesan.
Meave Moen, listen, I know I've been running you hard and paying you slave wages, but
I was thinking migrant farm worker, but
migrant farm worker, same difference. What's it feel like to see that we're turning a corner here?
I think it's amazing, and I think that I've had a lot of people come up to me, and they were saying that, the aforementioned women in crime, Gigi McKelvey, they really enjoy coming on. Matt Gutman says he'd love to come on from ABC. So I feel like, you know, the difference that makes a difference is great guests like Phil and Scott. You spent 30 years or 10,000 hours, you know, doing this. Carm, obviously, you know.
Without the best guests, there's no show. And without it's best guess. Carm, bring that chair over here. Come over on this side.
How many times will you boss me to?
You need to come around. Bring the chair and come around. Mead Moen.
Yes, exactly. I think I'm gonna let you. Yeah.
You do work with one of the most high-profile true crime guys. That would be Chris Hansen. What's he doing here?
Chris actually gave a speech earlier about takedown of the stuff that he's done. I also his part. He's got something called True Crime Nation, and they'd love to come on and talk about it. But True Crime Nation continues doing the Predator investigations that Chris has been famous for, and they also did a documentary called Victim Murderer, offering their take on the the Stephen Avery case, the Daily Wire purchased and is running. And so that's been getting a lot of buzz. It's a top show on Rotten Tomatoes. The Stephen Avery, Manitowoc County. The one. Yeah. And they were basically saying the filmmakers were slanted and that they had an agenda and it was bad filmmaking and that he really. Yes, it's definitely a jacked up case. And but
the question is, if not him, who else?
Yeah, exactly.
Spoken like a true homicide detective. Mead Moen, I'm gonna bring my mom in. I love you to death.
Yes, thank you very much for making me YouTube famous.
Mead Moen is without him, it doesn't happen. The magic does not happen.
Thank you.
All right, man.
But it's Mazel Tov, as Phil's people say.
We're gonna.
I'm gonna decrease.
Do something.
Come on, Carmen.
Decrease for the increase. Carm, scoot all the way in. The matriarch is here. J. Thomas Reed says, "What the heck is this?" Someone says, "Mazel Tov, Carmen Joel." Someone else says, "Happy birthday, Scott." You know it's Scott's birthday today.
Let's sing it. Happy birthday to you. Vida, sing it.
You don't sing happy birthday?
I don't do that.
Happy birthday,
dear Scott.
Happy birthday to you.
Scott.
You know that's Gary Brucato,
Yes,
world famous Gary
yes,
Brucato.
I'm so
Come say hi to
sorry.
Carm. This is total madness. How long can we do this for? We're going to go another 15 minutes. This is Carm in action, everyone.
Brucato.
Continue on. We're just
But,
getting
okay.
a candid moment.
We are listen, I'm talking to a very important man,
Oh.
the man of the moment.
Gary Brucato, there it is.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, we're gonna come find you, Gary. I'm gonna come find you. Oh no, you should be unmuted, Phil.
No. Ileana came over here.
Oh, well,
Promptly muted me. So.
Unmute yourself, otherwise we can't hear you.
Well, exactly. What I was going to say. No. I know how to do it. I just don't want you to do it.
Carm,
So now she came over and she did it.
hold on a sec. Carm,
What I was going to say was, and I didn't want it to be muted, was I was going to say mitigated disaster.
you're muted.
I know I'm muted. That was purposeful.
Well, I tell you, in due respect, it's not the worst disaster because many people in the world will watch us and see how crazy we are, and that's good for us.
Someone's asking if Delphi has been all the buzz. We're doing Delphi on Tuesday night. Admittedly, I know very little, but we're getting some of the best guests, as always, on this topic. Carm, what was it like for you to meet America's most respected detective, Fil Waters?
I was meeting him every week. I felt he just appeared in 3 dimensions. He was always with us. And I love the Fridays. I would not change them for anything. I think he's wise, outspoken, determined. And I don't want to say that you are my age because you could be my son, but you are from that same period of America. You are the Americana on the 60s. And I love
Trying to say you're old and old school. What about Scott Duffy? Equally sweet, but more my contemporary. What about Scott Duffy?
Scott Duffy, I will take him home.
He's a sweet, sweet man.
Yes.
But what about Fil Waters? You know, he's a gentle giant. He's wearing his slippers. Those are flip-flops.
Don't let yourself be fooled by the slippers.
What do you think about a man of this stature, America's most respected homicide detective, and that he has a 3-pound chihuahua that he's obsessed with?
He doesn't have to have a big dog to prove that he has a big everything else.
Oh, that was. Do you hear that?
I didn't hear that.
You don't need to have a big dog to prove that you have a big everything else. She said. Carm is cutting.
True that.
Here's another thing, Carm. This is now the third show in a row that Fil Waters has gotten a call from his Ferrari dealer, and he just closed on his Ferrari. If that brings him happiness, are you all for it?
I am all for whatever brings people happiness. In all fairness to myself, honestly, it would not bring me happiness. But the fact that he feels happiness brings me happiness.
Well, the Ferrari story is a God story. So
how
it's not about me.
How it's about God?
It's not about.
Explain.
Well, these things in Psalm 37. It says that he who delights in the Lord, he will provide the desires of your heart. I'm not talking about prosperity stuff. I'm talking about a relationship with a risen Savior. And I have finally gotten around to let God run my life instead of me trying to talk him into my plan. So, I pray about everything, great and small, about cars, about Ferraris, about anything. And Lord has blessed me with these cars because it causes an automatic conversation through the car, and I can provide my testimony through these cars.
Excellent.
Carm, what do you think of that?
No, but I think what I wish I had that kind of faith to be able to give it all to the Lord, because I honestly don't.
You can't take it with you. That's all I'm going to tell you.
What do you?
No. What I mean is that you, in all your decisions, you let God decide what is the right thing. And I am still trying to control situations, which is crazy.
Right.
Phil, do you have any advice for my mother, who is 84 years old? She went through the Holocaust. She has reason to be skeptical. But what would you say to her about, we're Jewish, obviously, you are Christian, but what would you say to her to I think what she's getting at is she would like to believe more. What would be your advice to her? Do you have
my advice, holy cow. All I can tell you, Carm, and I've told this the same thing, is that I'm a Christ follower.
Okay.
And I have friends that are Messianic Jews.
Okay.
And what I would tell anybody is that, well, number one, the Jews are God's chosen people, and there is a special.
I joke on this.
I'm sure you do, but there is a special relationship between God and the Jews and those tribes. And if all you got to do is read the Old Testament, Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament, but read the rest of it in the history and the prophet, and how everything was prophesied 1,000 years, Christ coming, all prophesied. And then it happened. And so all I can tell you is that the Bible has 66 books in it. They all have equal value. From Genesis, the first book of Genesis, the first chapter of Genesis, and the 22nd chapter of Revelation. And it is God's story. It's not about religion. It's about a relationship. And he sent his son to die for all of us, not just believers, all of us. He loves all of his children. He loves you. And I can tell you this, and I've told Joel this, that I will tell anybody that does not have that relationship with Christ, that it would break his heart at the thought that he would spend eternity without Carm.
Who would spend eternity without God?
If Jesus spent eternity without.
Oh, well, that doesn't mean I wouldn't show up.
Well, we're all going to show up. It's just going to be a matter of what the results going to be.
Carm, that is Catherine Ramsland right there. The famous Catherine Ramsland. I don't know that she.
You know she's famous. She wrote the book on
BTK.
But going back, Joel, I have to tell a joke.
They want me to be on her. Yeah, if you call her over, they were wanting me to
But
be
may
on her.
I-
Carm, tell your joke.
Tell your joke. Tell your Jesus
So
joke.
now it's no, it's not Jesus joke. It's a
Oh, I
Jewish
thought it
joke
was.
about us being the chosen people. The little Jewish boy is hiding in the basement from the Germans, and he says a prayer, and he says, "Dear God, could you for a while let us not be your chosen people?" But I think that you feel that way, and we are not envious of you, but we would like to have the same thing you have, and maybe one day it will get to that, but I'm not there. I'm honest with you.
It's a journey. It's a journey.
My daughter is very religious. I am not. Right?
It's a
Yes.
journey.
Moving off of religion now, Carm. We are the sinners.
Hey, let me let you in on something. This is not a joke. We're all sinners.
Now,
Jews and Gentiles, we're all sinners.
Carm, someone just said that you are the goat. Do you know what that means?
What is this?
Come over here, Peter. She's coming in with the answer. What is the goat? You better know the answer if you say the greatest of all time. Carm, what do you feel about all the adulation you're getting here at CrimeCon?
I tell you, it's absolutely wonderful. I soak it all in, and I hope it stays with me for a while. But it's a wonderful thing. It's really people showing a lot of love. People in the public here.
It's been overwhelming. It's been crazy. It's been people walking up to me and this familiarity that we have, a relationship that we've established primarily through Surviving the Survivor, walk up to me and speak to me as though I know them for forever. Yeah.
It is Scott, Scott Duffy. What are we going to do tonight for your birthday? That's a much more important question. It's much more pressing. Are we going to order pizza? Are we going to hang out with Phil? What are we going to do?
So I did see there's a lot of candy that's still on some of these podcast tables. So we're probably going to have to round up the candy, whatever lollipops are left, because it looked like as of this afternoon, everything was booked in town. So we're going to probably have to order a pizza.
You cannot get a reservation here. Carm, who are you excited to see? I just bumped into your friend Nancy Grace. And by the way, what I thought was really beautiful, a beautiful moment here was Vinny Politan, Court TV's main anchor. He saw you from a distance, and what did he do?
He gave me such a nice hug. You know why? Phil, you know why he likes me? Politan.
Who? Vinny Politan, Court TV's main anchor.
Anyway, he loves me because his grandmother's first name was Carmela.
Well, there you go.
Vinny is an Italian from New Jersey, so and Carmela is an Italian name, even though hers is not.
But I vibrate with Italians.
Yes. By the way, I've been telling Carmela not to cough up and clear her throat on camera. Scott Duffy, any advice for me to get her to stop this long term?
As I try to hit this water.
But you know what happened? Yesterday there was a reception here. And Joel took me without a leash, just took me there. And there was dark there. And there was a very noisy band. And I couldn't resist talking, so I lost my voice.
Carm, we're getting a question here. You're going to think that I'm being egocentric.
Right.
What is happening with the book, Joel, from Bonnie Lee Lopez in Vermont? And the book is now with the editor. It's being edited. And then I'm going to get an edited version back.
Way, they already responded about the jacket because Joel was more worried about the jacket.
Yes.
The book.
No,
and,
they were. I had to write a blurb.
And they liked the jacket.
Carmela said to me, you got 1 million names wrong, which is no surprise because these are Serbian names with 97 letters and they're all vowels, very few consonants. So Carm's going to have to proofread it, and the book is going to be out next Father's Day, believe it or not, but there'll be pre-orders soon enough, and we're going to get on that. Carm, are you going to go to the VIP party with us tonight?
There is a VIP party.
There's
tonight.
always a party.
Is this going to be like the last night was?
By the way, what was it like for you to see Creighton Waters playing in that band?
It was the most interesting. I wish you were here for that alone. This guy was not dressed in his three-piece suit with the tie. He was dressed in blue jeans and the t-shirt, and he was jumping around the stage, and I couldn't believe it was the same guy who put away what happened?
Phil is reading some comments, and you got to unmute yourself.
No. I'm not intending to say this for the public.
Phil knows when the mic's on and not. He's a. Phil doesn't know. They're not anti-Semitic. Was it, Carm? Did you find anything anti-Semitic?
You are like some Jews who see always anti-Semitism. It's just nothing. We had the conversation, and I totally could relate.
Carm would never be offended ever.
Goofball said, "Moderators, please delete all Christ BS, though. Very rude and anti-Semitic of them on the high holidays." So
What
because in the
high
middle of
holidays?
Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, all of a sudden I'm anti-Semitic because I shared.
I'm telling you, sometimes
May I say something?
Phil
to
is
you?
misunderstood. He's a God-fearing man who loves God, and he's just speaking from his heart. That's all I can say.
I'm not misunderstood. I understand completely what I'm doing.
Not you. You don't misunderstand. The people who hear you misunderstand. And
and here's the thing. I don't care.
Keep it in mind that none saved me. None.
Yeah,
We're
right.
Christians.
This is a true story. You're going to hear this in the book. Carm was saved by nuns back in 1944. That was a while ago. That was before there was AI. That was before there was Google. That was before there was, Fil Waters. Where my mother grew up, there's only horse and buggy, and we just went summer to visit. Would you have been able to manage with this horse and buggy and no Ferraris?
Well, it would have been. It would be fun, but look, my dad was a cowboy, and we kind of grew up in that atmosphere, and we've had horses and owned horses. And I've got a bull in Hawaii. My little wife takes her for bull browning, like browning the firearm, which I'm sure that'll get him going too. But,
by the way, someone was asking, are you? It's a very personal question. Are you packing a firearm at this convention? No, he's not. He is not.
You should be with all these.
Well,
my daughter reminded me I need to mute my.
I always feel naked without it.
Scott Duffy, do you feel naked when you are firearmless?
Yeah, I do. And I don't have one here because, being retired, I cannot travel the way I used to be able to travel with my firearm. So I am without.
I went and took shooting lessons.
And you're a good shot?
I saved the thing. I saved that the target to show right in the heart.
That's what we should do tomorrow.
I love that about Carm because she went and was in the activity of shooting a firearm, and she couldn't remember what the thing was she was shooting at. That would be the target.
By the way, do you know that Phil teaches shooting?
But let me explain to you why. I tell you why I learned how to shoot. Because I am horrified of powerlessness.
Oh, sure.
And of course don't own a firearm, but I wanted to know what it feels like. I don't like to be in the position that somebody can come and get me.
Well, of course not.
But in any case,
and that's what the Second Amendment of the Constitution guarantees. That Carm can be armed. We need to put that on a T-shirt.
Carm can be armed, or armed Carm.
What happened once I was in Arizona visiting my high school friend in Tucson.
I have an interesting story here, and it goes like this. Scott Duffy, how was your flight down here? And Scott Duffy says to me, it was very confusing. I said, why? He said, for the first time in 25 years, I had to go through a TSA line. He's a federal agent. Scott Duffy, tell me about that. You literally have never been through a TSA line, I don't think, until this trip.
No, and I used to fly before. Of course, TSA came on board all after 9/11, 2001. So for those who are not born before, did not fly before, realize that you were really left up to private security for these airports. And of course, TSA changed all that.
I heard somewhere that they were going to abolish the TSA.
No, I don't think they're going to be abolished. I think they're here to stay.
Scott Duffy, I have a question that's on my mind. When you were like at a high school, college age, were you like a scrapper? Were you getting into fights and stuff? Were you like sort of? Were you ever like that?
I had a few fights. I will say throughout my earlier junior high days and all, there were a few fights, and people pick on you, and it's just I was a scrappy little.
I only bring that up because you told me another interesting story that I'm about to share that I don't know if I'm supposed to. Hang on a sec. Can I share the painting story? The Maui painter.
Oh, sure.
So Scott Duffy tells my daughter's handing out swag in real time. Here's a crazy story. Scott Duffy, you tell the story. There's a guy on your street that was painting your house, and I don't mean the house. He was painting, like drawing the home. And Scott Duffy, pick it up from there. You see him. This is 19 years ago. What do you do to him?
Yeah, as growing up through law enforcement, and especially some of the cases that you have worked, you become a little bit more aware of who's hanging around your house, if they're not your neighbor or somebody you recognize. And so I saw a nice young man, didn't recognize him, sitting on the sidewalk right by my house with a pencil, paper, nice piece of paper, sketching. Now I've seen people who have taken pictures, and I chased them down, but to have somebody sketching really caught my attention, and somebody was paying attention to my house. And so I made sure that I was duly armed, went outside and approached this individual. I said, "Hey, what exactly are you doing?" And he said, "I just fell in love with your house, so I had to sketch it." And he showed me, and I was amazed at his work. And then he started to tell me who he was.
Hold on, you're missing an important part. Before you guys got into a cordial conversation, you patted this guy down and spun him around.
This guy, okay, so just to make sure, I usually talk to strangers, making sure that they're not armed. So I did have to address him a little bit strongly since he was close to my property. And it turns
out that he's now a famous artist out of Maui, right?
He is, from what I gather, he's a great artist.
What's his name?
And
let's give him a shout.
I'd probably be screwing up his last name, so I apologize. But Eddie Flotte or Flotte?
Flotte, Eddie, and it's Flotte, right?
Correct.
Flotte. Google him. He
draws watercolor.
He draws amazing stuff. Eddie Flotte, send me a free picture, and I'll plug it on STS. I'm on my podcast. What is mommy saying? COE. I know. I've heard that 1,000 times. Okay. I'm good at messing things up. Yeah, we're gonna end this momentarily because it's insane.
I worked as a therapist for years and years and years. People will say things. People will misunderstand the other person. Don't take it personally. Don't get upset. There will be, you know how many people said, few people said, she's too old, she speaks slowly, I can't stand her accent. You don't have to listen to me if you don't like it.
Right along those lines, let me tell you this. I don't care what they say about me at all. And here's my comment about what you just said. I can explain it to them, but I cannot understand it for them. So I always keep that in mind. And when I see the comments that are made that are so disparaging and hateful, I'll say what I said months ago. Still love them. They make my point for me. Still praying for them. And when they get their panties in a wad and all the bedwetters get worked over something I've said, that's a that ain't.
We got to get panties in a wad and bedwetters made onto a shirt. Carm, we're going to wrap up here because this is the most dysfunctional thing. This is the only thing close to this that I've been a part of was my very first ever camera experience. I was a young buck producer at MSNBC, its first couple months, and the International Wiffle Ball Championship team was there, and an anchor named Jody Applegate that was supposed to become Katie Kirk, and she's a great person. Shout out to Jody Applegate. Made me get up and hit against the world champion wiffle ball pitcher, and it was a complete unmitigated disaster on national television, and this is a close second here. Just want to get
in front of the
You know what I'm most fascinated about that story? That there's actual wiffle ball.
There's a wiffle ball world championship.
That's the most interesting part of that story. That it actually exists. And that's not a disparaging comment to the wiffle ball world players. I'll get. I'm a hater on the
Carm, CrimeCon 2023. It's our first one, first of many. Your final thoughts on this wild day?
You know how
Just trying to push it away. You need to speak in.
No, I'm just holding because I think that different conventions have different groups of people. These people on the whole were very warm. The ones who came here, they were very loving and they were very nice. I think it's a nice group of people.
Can you admit that you're surprised by the amount of love we got here?
Yeah, I am very, very, I'm paranoid, so I cannot take it all in at once, but I am surprised.
Scott Duffy, to you, happy birthday. Many, many, many more. Your final thoughts on this CrimeCon 2023. And by the way, quick program note, I'm going to try to do less insane lives tomorrow, like one-on-one, quick lives tomorrow, if we can pull it off. But Scott Duffy, by the way, we didn't know. We had to actually order electric and Wi-Fi, and we did that. And we had no idea. And Scott Duffy's been instrumental. Scott, your final thoughts to that?
Yeah, it is amazing. And to that note, whatever you forget, it is amazing how these people have it all in place where with the snap of your fingers, they electric and Wi-Fi rod. So first and foremost, thank you for the invite to be down here and to be able to officially with you and my partner Phil. I feel like I've known you forever, and to see your smiling face, to celebrate with you and break bread with you. Thank you so much. I will not forget this experience, and I look forward, if I can be, for CrimeCon futures.
Carm, before we get to Phil, one psychological analysis of me, if we can. Why is it that I am constantly working on this podcast 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, yet I feel like I'm never doing enough? Because I'm trying to satisfy and please my mother.
That's an absolute defamation of mother, because I am basically a lazy person, and I modeled that for you. May your father rest in peace. He was the hard worker.
Yes, he was. And before I get to Phil for final thoughts, on a serious note, what about the fact that Scott Duffy and Fil Waters literally dedicate their lives to investigating crimes very meticulously to get justice for these families?
I dedicated my professional life to helping people.
Don't talk about yourself.
No, wait a minute. There are people. I dedicated my professional life to helping people.
Goodness.
And I can relate to the fact that the two of them wanted justice in the world, which is kind of a little bit difficult to get.
Fil Waters, America's most respected detective. By the way, I just found out, and Phil can share this with you, not only is he America's most respected detective, the star of The Interrogator and everything else, he's also an actor in a show. Fil Waters, what is that show and your final thoughts?
The show is called Breaking Strongholds, and it's a faith-based production company out of my current hometown, Magnolia, Texas. And I think
This is the famous Catherine Ramsden. Hi, Catherine. Doing a live podcast. How are you?
Good, good. Hi, everybody.
That's Catherine. She wrote the book on BTK. You're here with Gary Brucato. Just had Gary sit down. How are you enjoying CrimeCon?
Good times. My third one.
Will you come back on the show on a normal night? All right. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. That was the great Catherine Ramsden. Fil Waters. Pick up where you were. That was Catherine Ramsden.
I'm not even sure.
By the way,
this is so totally discombobulated.
let me tell you one thing. Hold on a second. Catherine Ramsden teaches at DeSales University. Bryan Kohberger was her student. The evildoer.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Very interesting. Well, that'll get them all started when you bring that up again, right? So.
Phil, your final thoughts. Oh, look, live photos here during the broadcast. Phil, your final thoughts.
I don't know. I'm so confused now that I don't usually find myself in this situation where I'm.
Phil, what is your brother's first name? Love that guy, by the way, and he helped us out with all the engineering. Shout out to John. Come here. We're not wrapped yet. I just got to thank you on camera. Get over here.
We should be.
This is John Waters.
We should have been.
Fil Waters' brother, great guy, and he's an engineer. He's smart. There's one smart guy in their family.
Completely.
And he was here to set this all up. Thank you, John.
Hey, my pleasure.
Awesome. Everyone love. My wife's telling me to mute. I'm just going to say goodbye. Love you, America. Love you, CrimeCon. Love you, Orlando.
Aloha.
Love you, Hawaii. Love you, Philly. Happy birthday, Scott Duffy.
Thank you.